Hey, how's y'all doing, everybody? Again, this is your host, Mr. Blow Your Minds, and welcome to the most hated show in the black corner of YouTube. First and foremost, I want to say what's good to my family, my subscribers. My day one was good, everybody. Hopefully you get to catch this live performance and this show. Passerbys, if we happen to pass by due to the thumbnail, this is the most hated show in the black corner of the internet and YouTube. Go down the aisle. We also have a grand opening. Happen to see something to make you feel some kind of way. Remember, the motto of my show is the truth don't need no partner. Well, since it's been the day after the so-called determination whether to proceed forward, so I'm going to say it's a mischaracterization of justice. Some of y'all out there might be feeling a little some kind of way, and some of y'all just like, well, just like the same old suit just reheated. Nothing don't change. Regardless to how, I guess we could say, the opponents from one side to the other, people feel certain kind of ways. One particular people are elated to get some of that pressure off their back. And other ones just seem to be like it's caught in this monotonous, what we call of a system. And so today's show, I want to just kind of go over a little bit of some of the stuff that I didn't cover the other one. But you know, they're doing everything in their power to suppress this show. Doing everything, man. I mean, it's kind of funny when you think about it, like a show who's been in since 2012, but can't get now 30 views. What is it that I'm saying over here that they don't want you to hear? Think about that. You go to all these channels, they talk about all kind of stuff. There's some people who are not touching anything. But why are you so specific about suppressing this show? What is it that I am saying? You got to actually tell them. So they're probably sitting up in here right now, aren't you? That's what you get paid to do, right? It's all good. Because you know why? The truth don't need no partner. And so, mischaracterization. Is that what we've seen? Was everything presented according to what we believe? Or is it has to go according to the way things have to always be? A lot of people try to make us, as we, the BADOS, the Black American descendant of slavery, be the whiners and the cries about, oh, you guys always are crying and moaning about. We too, right? Even to the point they was even saying that statistically says we deal with them more than you guys do. Then why did it take for us to get out here to do something before you got out here? Let me say that again. Why did it take, if statistically, that if we the ones out here crying and saying, and they say all lives matter, but if you were getting beat down and all this stuff prior before we got to festivity, what was y'all delay? How come y'all didn't get out here to do nothing? Because again, it was a farce. It's only something to say to try to quell down the fact that now you're starting to say, hey man, enough of this. Now all of a sudden now you want to bring your statistic. The statistic says that we guys, we have more dealers in killing bodies us than I used to. You guys, really? Then where y'all been? On the bandwagon? Wait a minute, you were first, but you didn't have enough heart to do anything. And then when they got out now, also now you out here. You done pretty much took over everything. But you're doing it in somebody, you know, like somebody co-sign. You ever had somebody try to co-sign something for you? Because you don't got enough credit. So they co-signing. Well, that's what it looked like. We co-signed for you to get out there to do all the stuff that you really wanted to do in our name. And so, well, the system said, well, It's Black Lives Matter that's out here looting, shooting, destroying stock property. Well, yeah, this is Antifa, but no, pay no attention about that. But Black Lives Matter. You understand what I'm saying? You put everything on there, but we had to take all that comes with it. Then there's situations like this, right? Now, are we against putting people in jail for no reason? No. That ain't what we hear about. We here because, again, we defend those who are the defendless. It's myself, I'm part of that group. I don't know who you are. I know who I am. And what we do is sometimes we have to, because the media out here, right, it's slanted. It's one-sided. It's a unilateral side. And even when we talk about the institution that's supposed to be for everyone, it seems like it don't be for everybody. So with today's show, what I'm going to try to go over a little bit is the fact that there's some people who are happy about what took place. There's some people who are happy. Some people are saying, well, all those names that you keep regurgitating, see, the system says you're wrong. See, some of y'all need people to say something to justify when you yourself know in your heart, mind, and whatever soul you think you got, justify what you know is obvious. But, it's kind of like saying, well, I ain't going to talk about it no more. Let me go ahead and show it, right? Let me go and get into that. I have seen this, man. And I understand people have a perspective about things. And people always talk about bring the receipts and the facts. But I don't understand how certain people can see the same things and somehow when they go back and try to, like they say, redramatization, we're going to reenact this. But when they retell the story, how come they pull stuff out of left field to try to make this fit according to this narrative that I'm trying to say? Let me show what I'm talking about. I seen this here, and I'll be back right after. Check this out, y'all.
Oh my gosh. The racism just continues.
Now, is that an argument? Because that's what I see substituted for an argument.
Yeah.
A bunch of names of people who had issues with police, whether some of them justified, some of them not. Like the entirety of the argument is like Breonna Taylor, Trayvon Martin, George Floyd, Eric Garner. And it's like there's a whole range of stories you're talking about.
We need solutions.
Some of them justified, some of them not justified, some of them involving police, some of them not.
No-knock raids in the middle of the night.
No. Can we clear some of these things up?
You're just for shooting innocent women in the back or however, in the middle of the night, going in, no-knock raid, just shooting her.
Can we?
That's what I'm hearing.
This is one of those situations where if you know what happened in the story, it is impossible to adopt the things and viewpoints that Black Lives Matter and every NBA player apparently have.
From a guy who won't say her name. Okay,
Breonna Taylor.
Go ahead. Tell us the story, Stu.
First of all, there's a rumor that they went to the wrong house. No, they didn't go to the wrong house. They went to the correct apartment, the one they were supposed to. It's on the warrant. They had a warrant for that address.
But how do we know that?
Well, it's on the warrant, so I mean they went to the right address.
So police doctored warrant.
No, and we also know there's this big thing about there's a no-knock warrant.
Exactly right.
Now there was a no-knock warrant issued in the case. However, they didn't utilize it. So that's a big problem. We know for a fact with 100% certainty that they did knock.
Really? We know that because police said they knocked?
Yes.
Yes.
And also Kenneth Walker, the guy, Breonna Taylor's boyfriend. That he also said he heard the banging, and a separate neighbor who came out to say, "What the heck's going on? There's a lot of banging going on in this door out there." And then the police said, "Get back in your apartment." So we know with 100% certainty.
But we only know from the guy who fired on police and the neighbor. Those are the only witnesses that we have.
And the police, and 3 police officers.
Okay. Well, you got to throw out the police officers. They're all corrupt.
Get back in your apartment. So we know, but they all agree on this. So that's a big. Well,
they're probably lying. But the guy who shot was inside. He wasn't lying, and the neighbor I trust, but I don't trust the police.
Now, if you've just seen this on sports broadcasts or from dumb politicians...
I like to get all my news from both of those sources.
Oh, no kidding.
And MSNBC, which I think is the combination of the two.
Yes, that is actually pretty much the combination. You might not know that Breonna Taylor, in the past, before this incident, had dated a guy, Jamarcus Glover, who was a known drug dealer. And so the reason they got the warrant was for Jamarcus Glover, who was at a different place, and Breonna Taylor's apartment they wanted to search. They did not accuse Breonna Taylor of a crime. They were just, the accusation or the belief was that they used to date. They had seemingly broken up, but they were still kind of in contact. He had come over to her house a couple times, maybe to pick up a package. They believed that maybe he was getting drugs or money sent to her house and using it sort of as a safe house because she didn't have a criminal history. There was no reason that she did anything wrong.
There's nothing that she did wrong, and they didn't accuse her of doing anything wrong. In fact, the belief could have been that she was maybe abused.
Right.
And she's just hiding stuff at her house because the drug dealer boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, is beating her up and is abusive.
She doesn't want to piss off her her ex-boyfriend who's a drug dealer, which would be a sensible motivation.
Sure.
But the police's motive.
What are you going to do?
The police motivation there is to go in and see what is in the house.
Right.
Is he hiding drugs? Is he hiding money? What's going on? So that's why they have the warrant. They go to the house in the middle of the night. And we can talk about why this part of this is a problem, but separate from what happened yesterday. Because if you missed the news yesterday, there was an indictment in this case. They announced the results of a grand jury yesterday, and that's what led to the violence last night. 2 police officers were shot, among other things. So they go to the house. Police start knocking on the door. We know they knocked on the door. They identify themselves as police. Now the neighbor. Confirms this, that they identified themselves as police trying to come into the door. Kenneth Walker, the current boyfriend of Breonna Taylor.
The good guy, no charge against, nothing wrong with him, nothing.
Yeah.
Clean.
They're in bed. It's 3 a.m. or whatever. They're in bed. They hear the banging. They both wake up.
Right.
They stumble out of their bedroom, down the hall. They're looking at the front door. He realizes that she's got a boyfriend who would be pissed off that he was there, and also is a drug dealer and with a known criminal history.
Right. And if indeed she was in an abusive relationship or just afraid of him, he was there. He would have a gun. He's going to shoot because he has a right to defend himself in his own home.
And he's a legal gun owner.
Right.
And this is an important part of this, legal gun owner. So he obviously, as I would, by the way, went to go get his gun because if he doesn't know it's police, he's freaking out.
Even if he does know it's police, you would still be afraid that maybe that's the drug dealer just saying
yelling
that.
Police,
you
right? You
don't know.
So he believes it's Jamarcus Glover breaking in to abuse Breonna Taylor. So he tries to defend himself.
And her.
So after whatever distance of time, they decide, okay, no one's coming to this door. We're breaking the door down. The police knock the door in. As they knock the door in, he believes a drug dealer is coming in to kill them or abuse them in some way. He does what I think is a completely defensible thing in the circumstances, which is shoot at the person breaking into his house at 3 a.m.
Right. I have to tell you, if somebody broke into my house at 3 o'clock in the morning and it was police, I'm not sure I would believe it, because if I were innocent, If neither of these people had anything, they have no criminal record, they have nothing.
Right.
So that would be me. That would be you. If somebody breaks in at 3 o'clock in the morning and they tear down my door, and I'm afraid of somebody else, I know somebody else is coming, for me, I absolutely take a gun and I shoot. Now, you shouldn't shoot without knowing, but that's what happens, and that is why we have a castle doctrine. You have a right to defend yourself in your own home, especially at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right. And so it was, now it doesn't mean it worked out perfectly, but it was a totally understandable response from Kenneth Walker's position in that moment.
Correct.
Right? He thinks he's being attacked. Someone breaks his door down. He fires one shot. And this is something that is like, I would say 99% of people who talk about Breonna Taylor don't know. But this is agreed upon not only by the police, but also Kenneth Walker, the boyfriend of Breonna Taylor. He fired first and actually hit the officer.
Right.
So think about what just happened now from the officer's perspective. They are trying to break down a door, which they assume, they believe, is potentially has drugs and stuff inside, which, you'd think people were going to hide it or whatever. When they break the door down, they get shot by someone. The one officer, Mattingly, looks down the hall. He sees two people at the end of the hall. Can't really make them out. The only thing he can make out is a gun, and he sees a flash of the gun and then feels the heat on his thigh. He gets shot in the thigh. He backs up. What the hell do you think a cop is going to do in that situation? He's just been shot.
Stop. What do you think anyone who is carrying a gun legally is going to do? If someone shoots you and you have a gun, you shoot back.
Right.
That's any human being.
Any human being. So, and that, think about this for a second, how this is shown as supposedly some big example of racism by police. It is not even clear they could make out the race of who was shooting at them. But again, whoever it was, no matter what race it was, actually shot a cop. I think it's defensible from his position why it happened, as we just laid out. But when you shoot a cop, what the hell do you think is going to happen?
Okay, so stop, because that, I think, is going to be misheard. Here's what we... No.
Yeah, go ahead.
So here's what I think we should... what needs to be said. Let's look at this from 2 points of view. One, he was justified. He was charged with a crime. The shooter was charged with a crime, and then it was dropped. That's normal.
Yep, people think that's a big sign of racism too. No, that's very normal.
If I shoot somebody in my house, if you shoot somebody in your house, plan on spending a year in court in hell, okay? Because they're going to investigate all of it, okay? Now, they have witnesses because there were cops that were there. So they could witness and say, yep, that's exactly what happened. This was a justified shooting on his part.
On the boyfriend's part.
On the boyfriend's part. Absolutely justified. These cops are not the cops that are doing the investigation. These are there just serving the warrant and searching the house. They don't know all the details. They don't have an axe to grind. They were just the guys assigned this job. Now, period. Separate issue. Cops come in, they knock. Look at it only from their point of view. The cops, they knock, they identify themselves. They are going into a place that they have been told could be hostile because it could have a drug dealer inside. And whether he's violent or not, I don't know, but they suspect that maybe if he's there, they knock, they identify. They knock, they identify.
All right, so we are black, right? So that was Glenn Beck and one of his guests. And we were talking about the case. As you heard him talking about racism keeps continuing. Does it continue on the fact that is it a one-sided game, or is this a all-inclusive club? When you say that word racism, does racism mean that everybody's playing this game, or has racism been a one-sided game? Depending on when you came into the world, you have a different perspective about what the world is. Those who've been around a little longer, seen the game at a different times, like, say, for instance, an analogy would be used. Let's say if it was Monopoly. And we decided to say, well, at 7 o'clock, we're going to play the Monopoly tonight. But you got caught up. Maybe you had to go take the garbage out, run the kids somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Take wife somewhere. You got there late. You got here now, 7:10. Game been playing. You come in, you got to play according to where the game has already been played at. So your understanding about racism may not be as for those who've been playing from the beginning. So based on, again, those people who are the institutions, they teach a certain way that, again, they try to manipulate so that those who are the older school seem to be like, well, let's say those who are the racism, again, those who have power and control to manipulate and control things versus those who are just the pawns of the game, may have some, let's say, ill will and bigotry feelings, but they don't have the power to determine anything. So when somebody from what they say the dominant side or society says, oh, racism continuing, it's only continuing from one side of this equation. It is the side that your side, the side you're on. The problem is, many of you don't want to admit the fact that it is a real game. So in certain situations, what you end up doing is you try to find loopholes. You try to find ways to, take the, let's say in Africa, they say throw a hot tire with gasoline and burn. You can't get it off of you. And the Bible talks about a burning wreath on your head. So you have a burning wreath on your head when the situation arises, and then somehow we're going to take the wreath off so that it doesn't, convict you or those of the group. And so what we do is they try to blanket it and say, oh, here it goes once again. Black people, according to the history of this country, and I know a lot of y'all don't like to say I'm a victim, but I don't know what else you're going to call it. You can say what you do individually. We're talking about collectively as a group. We've been in this condition from the time of the history, and then the history will show you. Then if that's not true, then why does the history says that you've been fighting and you had to be implemented in, they had to write you in and you fighting for rights, and right? So how is it that this game that we say racism is a all-encompassing game, but the people who seem to be the victims of it, I know a lot of people don't like to use that term, but it seemed to be we all in this together. And so here we go again, right? The continuing of it, right? So his guest on there, he says, well, it's just a bunch of people who have issues with police. Start, Sandra Bland and Michael Brown, and it's not going through the litany of names that are being used, because a lot of people, again, have their issues with Black Lives Matter, the organization. But we as Black Lives Matter, the people, we ain't got nothing to do with that damn organization. That's still some undermined stuff that goes on. There's somebody who's trying to pick and prod and try to get us to move in certain ways, right? So use these organizations, infiltrate, create, for some scenario, again, try to take the burning wreath off and try to say, see, it's these guys. No. Till you become honest with yourself. You're not going to do that. We know we're not going to do that. So he said these bunch of people that they want to use as a mantra to try to say that there's really a problem here by keep saying these names. But he says, well, these just a bunch of people who had problems with police, but they're all dead. Let me say that again. He tried to make it shine off. It's like, well, it's just a bunch of people who just got issues with police. An issue is something that you probably still live in. You got an issue, right? Have an issue with a brother, brother-in-law, grandma, mama, daddy. Issue, but not dead. These issues result in loss of life. And so, try to belittle the stance or the validity of what people who use as trying to show you the reflection of what we're talking about. Do you see what I'm showing you here? Do you see it? No, I don't see it. And you have to ask yourself, the reason why you don't see it is either I have to ask yourself, are you a vampire? Because I know according to the way that y'all depict what a vampire is, because again, me coming as a descendant of Africans and being a black American in this country, the only way I knew about a damn vampire was because of you. You taught me what a vampire is. So my understanding of a vampire is, according to the movies and the way they depict it, is the fact that he can't see himself in the damn reflection. Go past a mirror, you just see shoes and a cape. See the woman, you might be dancing with it, but you don't see him. And that's the way you see when it comes to dealing with the situations. Right? You don't see it. So, just a range of stories. A range of them. Really? These are people's lives, man. These are actual, factual people. You know, like some people, let's say, when you talk about heroes, right? You have some people who have mythology. Talk about certain people and people who never existed. But in literature, writing, they existed. Well, we as BADOS of this land, the heroes that we know are real. You have seen a Michael Jordan, a LeBron, a Walter Payton, Serena. These are real people. We don't got no Superman, Batman, Spider-Man. We don't have that. Right? That's not real. That's fictitious, right? So the difference between the realities are something that you just can't comprehend, but even though you think you do, but then you don't, but it ain't I guess, again, it's saying, trying to show you something. The pantheons of names are trying to show you that maybe there's something going on here. But if you want to deflect off and try to say that they don't, because why? Well, because a vampire can't see his own reflection. So he's going to deny it. You're like, I see you right there. No, you don't see me. I'm in the mirror. Okay. So he said, it's impossible to conclude that those, like he said, he talk about those of the NBA and all them who talk about, how they were taking the stance about what happened to a Miss Breonna Taylor. That somehow that the stance that they were taking was not real. The stance that they were saying, hey, it's injustice on this here. No. It's just a figure of your imagination, man. You guys just don't comply. They're always right. It's kind of like that doctrine they be always talking about. What is that? I think what it's called? What is it called? Some kind of immunity. Some kind of immunity. Not that qualified immunity. No. That's what they end up using. There's one even greater than that, right? Sovereignty unit. It's called sovereignty immunity. Where it says the king can't do no wrong. Who goes around thinking that they don't do no wrong? Who is that pompous to believe that everything that I do is always right? Ain't nothing never wrong what I do. It's always the other person's fault. I can justify it because I have all the apparatuses and institutions, and we're going to do is all right. Yeah, I know you did that, but we're going to say you did this. Okay. We're going to say you did that. Okay. Now we have the word because we're going to keep programming because we already did it because you've been in the school institution. We're going to say that. Okay. You see that there? Grand jury. Nothing trumps that. Grand jury. Supreme Court. Nothing can trump that. The President of the United States. Nothing can trump that. Damn. Nothing can trump that. So the person in position of that who runs that got to be the almighty, non-wrong, as a flawed person that we are, can come in positions and somehow, you know what? They can't do no wrong. They don't lie. Ruth Ginsburg could tell you something a little bit different today, couldn't she? She could tell you that with the seat that she sat on and when she was the judge, if she could come back for 1 minute to talk, if I could put on this mic, I bet she said, we're wrong. We're wrong. I bet she could tell you that. You can't hear that though, can you? We were wrong. So anyway, so he goes on talking about how there was a rumor that the warrants, the rumors about the warrants. Did anybody hear the entirety of the interview that was done by the police officer? Did you hear it? Then you know they kind of put it together, right? They commingled the interview that was supposed to be done, which I don't understand how they did it, but I don't understand why you did it. But you got two simultaneous interviews when you're trying to listen to the one that said according to the title says, but it's got two going together to discombobulate and frustrate somebody who cannot go through it. And you're like, what is this? But everybody want to use the word transparency. Oh, we transparent. Rule of law, we don't lie. Sad, man. So you got friends. But what good is your damn friend if he don't ever pull your coattail and tell you, man, you know what, you on some bull, man. What kind of friend you got if he don't tell you you wrong, man? Do you want somebody else, yes man, all the time around you to make you again, or don't say anything when I'm wrong? So the rumor was, but again, if you heard that whole interview that he said, there was no warrant. Do you not know that? There was never no real warrant. Say it was on the board. They never got a signature. So if somebody wrote it on the board and there ain't no signature, my conclusion means that there didn't exist. There wasn't one. But that don't mean that the game ain't going to say there was one. Yes, there was a warrant. The reason why they didn't do the no-knock warrant is because one didn't exist. It didn't exist. But you're not going to say that. I get shit. I got you damn right. Shit, if I got something about trying to put me 20, 30, 40 years in damn jail, hey, man, you need to help me. Right? You need to help me. We get it. We get it. But the thing is, you're doing it all in our damn face like, damn, we can't connect no kind of dot. That's how y'all look at you just coming at us like, y'all just boo-boo the fool. We can do anything on them, man. You know, anything. Just say that. That's smart. We're the IQ. We got all the highest IQ. We're the Einstein. Right. Because you write the damn book. Huh? If you thought there was ever a person that was, let's say, a black person who was smarter than all of y'all, would you ever think y'all would be writing that in the damn books? Let's just be honest with you. Could you do that? Would you do that? Huh? Would you be? Could you be? Would you be mine? Huh? That old Mr. Rogers shit, right? So anyway, there wasn't one. That's why one produced. Right? So it's impossible to conclude that they are taking them stances. Because why? When you look at the history of the two, when you put them side by side, look at the things that one side has stood up in its history about what it fight for versus what the other one does. I think just the other day, it was the anniversary of the Salem witch. We was burning witches and shit. Mama was talking about witches and y'all burning the shit out of them because, I don't know, what they putting spells and shit on? Just back there was witches and y'all was burning their ass up because why? They would not capitulate to whatever the hell it was that you say, well, you can't be talking about that. Right? See, you don't go along with what I'm saying, then, no, man. You know, we're going to take a break right quick, man. I'll take this break right and we'll be right back. Check this out, y'all. What you do? What you waiting on? Need no speech? All right, we back, right? So he was talking about also the fact that Kenneth Walker, he said he heard the banging. Now see, the cop said they were banging. You got to upstairs ever say it was banging. All right. So that means if he admitted, they admitted, in the upper, well then that's what happened. All right, let's say if that be so. Let's say that's so, right? But again, if you went and heard the whole interview that he had said, he said they banged 3 times without doing any announcing. Imagine they said, now again, as you heard in that clip there, he said 3 a.m. 3 a.m. Now, I don't know if that's a really official time, but I'm going to tell you what they said. Imagine 3 a.m. somebody banging on your door after you knocked out. Then if you hear the whole entirety of the interview, you're going to hear him what he wear. He didn't have on his police uniform. Oh, did you not know that? He didn't have his police uniform on. He had on some black boots, gray pants, a Nike pullover shirt with a hood, but then he had the police little emblem over the top of that. So just imagine, as you heard that was said, somebody boom, boom, boom. Now, you ain't seen no outlay of how their apartment looking there where they live at. Why they want to show that? If you're seeing in the picture, wait, do we got that? Do we got that? Maybe we could get that. Can we show that? Let's see if we got that. Oh, we got that. Go ahead, let the people see that. You see that there? Do y'all see that? Right? Now, as small as that door is to get in there, and in the press conference, you heard somebody say that only one person got in there by himself. Why you see all them green little bullet markers all outside the door? Why all them outside the door? Why they all outside the door? Anybody know why? Them bullets didn't get in the house. So somebody just spying up outside. And he can't get in because my man inside. Now again, they say he got hit in the leg, right? He got hit in his leg. And if you go hear the whole his report, he told you, yeah, when he got hit, right? Then he boom, 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 right? He shoot his 4 shots. He say 4, but his report say 6. And then he feels the burning in his leg, and then he feels all the blood. So now he's in there trying to get out of there. Right? So he's bleeding profusely, and it's coming out that door. But if you look on these pictures, you see no blood nowhere. You see no blood nowhere. Huh? Go listen to what he said. Right? Listen to what he said, man. You don't see no blood. Then he said he got from that position and he ran over. Well, he didn't run. He said he called it, he was running. But then he hobbled, and then he fell on one of his men that was laying in the damn street. Why was the man in the damn street? He said at this time, nobody was shooting. He was the only one that was shooting from inside. And then the one pop from that was from inside. And then they waited for him to do all that. And then when he got over there in the mystery, then they started to shoot. Right? But we always making up stuff. We the one making up. Wait a minute. The people who, the most incarcerated, go to jail more than anybody, get pulled more tickets than anybody, but we don't understand this. We don't understand none of this. We go more